sweet, I got a new package. So we're gonna check it out. Open it up and take a look what's inside. All right, cool. Let's open it up. Exciting unboxing. Ta-da! I must be upfront with you though. The company AKLOT sent me this violin so that I can test it, and yeah, it's mine to keep if I want it. But they're not actually sponsoring this video, so I can say whatever I want. So let's get into it. The instrument is nice and clean, of course. Look at this beautiful varnish. When instruments come from the factory, I just absolutely love the way they feel, the way they smell, the way they look. It is remarkable. It's amazing. I hope you like it too. Right away, we should get into the setup and how to get it ready for playing. So let's take a look at the bridge setup, tuning, and basically getting it ready to go. As you can see, the manufacturer included this piece of paper specifically so that you don't scratch the violin. So don't remove this, leave it on the instrument, and I'll show you when to take it off. Not yet, so don't rush this. You don't want to scratch this beautiful varnish in the very, very beginning. The instrument is missing a bridge, so let's take a look. It should be somewhere here in this case. Let's see, not here, not here. Oh wow, this is nice. Look at that. Wow. Oh, there it is. This. Yes, we need that. So let's get this thing installed. So normally you don't really need to do anything to the bridge. It usually comes pre-cut to the instrument's specs. So all you need to do is install it the right way. Now notice how when you're looking at it like this, it's not even. Like this part is a little bit higher, this part is a little bit lower. It's by design, it's on purpose. So you need to keep this for lower strings. So G string is going to be on this side, okay? And the thinnest, the highest string, E string, is going to be on this side. So you kind of need to set it up this way, like this. All right, let me show you. So first I'm gonna basically loosen all the strings because they're sort of tight right now, but I need to loosen just a little bit so they can, you know, give just a little bit of room for me to work with, okay? And now I'm just gonna roughly set it up right here in the middle, sort of like this. I'm just ballparking it right now. I'm gonna adjust this a little bit better, but this is kind of the ballpark. This is what we're trying to do, and I'll show you in a little bit more detail how this is gonna be, you know, adjusted later. So now my goal is to tighten the strings just a little bit, only enough for this bridge to stay in place like this, because you see right now they're very loose. So any little motion will move the bridge, and I don't need that. I want this bridge to be rather, you know, firm so that I can work with it. So be very careful. Don't over tighten the strings. Don't be too tight on the strings. It should be tight enough. So we want this to kind of, like I said, just to kind of provide just a little bit of room for us to make further adjustments. The strings are actually correctly wound. So this is very cool. I'm tightening this, just check it out. Very little, and as I'm going, I'm adjusting this just a little bit, but I'm trying to do this in a way that won't scratch the varnish. All right. Also at this point, I can remove this little silly paper because it's no longer needed here, because this part is now actually lifted, elevated, and now I can, you know, move to make more adjustments to this bridge. In the beginning, your goal is to find a balance for this to be, when I say balance, you don't want things to be too crooked or too sideways. Now see, it's moving just a little bit, so my goal is to get this just a little bit straighter, so that it's not so crooked. How do I do that? All right, let's see. This is one of the ways to do it, is adjust the gut string, this thing right here. Because see, if you look at it right now, look how sideways this thing is. You see, like the fingerboard keeps going this way, but the strings are going the other direction, which we don't need that. We want this to be kind of like this. So to get that, see, this is more straight than what it wants to do. So for this to happen, we need to tighten the strings just a little bit more. As I'm tightening the strings a little bit more, you see it's now getting straighter and straighter. So the D string is gonna go next. I'm trying to get this tightened just a little bit. I'm plucking the strings so that I can hear just how much I have tightened it and how much more I need to keep, how much more is needed to kind of achieve the desired effect I'm looking for here. Now the bridge is getting pretty tight, so I need to be very careful. If I move it too much, it's going to scratch the varnish. So I don't want that. I want this to be as beautiful as possible. So I'm trying to be very delicate with this and make sure that I don't do anything that will compromise the beauty of the instrument. I want this to be as nice and as pretty as I can. Now also notice I'm trying to keep the bridge very much parallel to the body of the instrument. You see? Yeah. So now I'm gonna just continue to tighten the strings a little bit at a time, and I'm gonna start adding more and more pressure on each string as I go. And I'm trying to go these two middle strings first. Then I'm gonna go with G string a little bit and E string a little bit. But we're going, you know, in very small increments. And notice how they did the wrapping on the strings. I actually didn't do this. They did this at the factory. This is actually quite good for you know, entry-level instrument. So that you want the string to be closer to the cheek as you're tightening it. You see, you don't want this to be kind of a messy right here when it's tightening. So the final string, when it's coming out from the peg, you want that thing to be basically closer to the cheek. So these two lower strings are going to go closer to this string, this cheek, and these lower strings are going to be closer to this cheek. And that I call these things cheeks. It's basically peg box, but yeah, outer cheeks. Anyway, you don't want the strings to be in the middle because that will be difficult to tune. It will be constantly going out of tune. You don't want that. Also, let's check out the shoulder rest that is included in the case. I think the size needs to be adjusted. So I'm going to make it just a little bit larger. See how that works? Here we go. So when putting this shoulder rest on, be careful trying to scratch the varnish, and make sure that when the violin is in this position, like upside down, it sort of forms a smiley face. Does it look like a smiley face? Then you're doing good. Ooh, this is comfortable. Okay, so back to the tuning. The case also includes a tuner, which I don't really need, but I'll show you how to use it. So watch this. Tuner. I think it's a kind of a standard feature now when you buy a new violin on Amazon. Like when you buy basically a set, when you buy a complete set, you usually get one of these in the package. And it is a very useful thing if you're a beginner and you don't know how to tune the violin. So it clips, oh, there goes the battery. Oh, oops. So first I need to put this battery in. Ah, there it is. Yeah, seems to be working now. Like this, turn this thing towards me. Ah, okay, so clip it like this. Check it out. This is the best way to do it, looks like. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna try and tune the instrument, and I'm not using the bow. This is just, I'm using my fingers to pluck to kind of get close enough. I don't want to get 100% tuned yet because it's more convenient. So I'm gonna start with A string, and I'm gonna start by tuning this in baby steps, very little bit at a time, to make sure I don't pop the string. So I go a little bit, and each time after I turn the peg, I pluck the string to listen. Did I make any difference? See, I'm tuning it up. The pitch gets a little bit higher. So if you can see here, it actually shows you what note I'm getting right now. Okay, check it out, F sharp. All right, so remember I told you I'm gonna try and get close. So this is close enough. That's fine. Now let's do the rest of the strings. I'm trying to get the bridge. So I'm doing the D string now. Check it out. I'm turning the D string peg. I'm plucking it. Then I'm turning it just a little tiny little bit. Baby steps. Okay. Okay. Again, we're trying to get close enough. We don't need to get exact yet. Hopefully you can see what it's doing. The display. All right, cool. That's cool for now. Let's do G string. G string. Here we go. And finally, the E string. Now, the E string is the thinnest of them all. It's the easiest to pop if you're not careful. So be extra careful with this one. Really make sure that you're turning super baby steps at a time. Very, very little. Ooh. You see? I'm getting a C sharp. Okay, we can go a little bit more. See? You can see the progress, right? The pitch is getting higher, closer to E. Okay, I think we're getting really close. So the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want to, you see, if you look at my my bridge, you don't want this bridge to get to leaning too much the wrong way, this way or the other way. Mostly it's going to be leaning this way because the strings are pulling this way. I'm tuning them in that direction. I'm pulling in that direction. So the bridge eventually does this. It starts kind of, you know, heading this way because of physics. So I have to make sure things are still parallel and good. It's okay. I think I can make a little bit better adjustment here and maybe pull it backwards just a hair, just a little bit, because I don't want the bridge to start leaning too, you know, too much this way, like a leaning tower of Pisa in Italy. So I'm basically very carefully trying to like hold the bottom of the bridge with my thumbs so that it doesn't go too far towards me, and then I push back with my index fingers, just a hair, a little tiny little bit, when I feel things are moving where I need to be. Do you see how it's just a little bit now leaning in the other direction? That's actually good. That's what I want. So now I can go back to tuning and try to get it to 100% tune, and then we can try what this violin sounds like. All right, let's measure the final result. So we should end up with 55 millimeters between where the string contacts the tailpiece and the beginning of the bridge. Looks like very good, very close. Yeah. And we are measuring the G string because E string is using a phi tuner, so you know it's going to be a little bit off. But we can also do the similar measurement here, and we are, yeah, 55, 56 millimeters. That's cool. We're good. Also check out the final wrapping for E string, A string, D string, and G string. Okay, looks good. Okay, now, still using just the hand and still doing baby steps, but I have to be extra careful now because I'm trying to do basically the final mile, so to speak, to get this A string as close to the 440 hertz as possible. Like I said, I don't actually need this tuner. I'm doing this just for demonstration purposes, but you see, you can sort of see G sharp, I think is, or G is doing, it's showing us, yeah. So I turned the peg just a little bit. As you can see, the pitch is changing, it's going up. It's getting really close to A. Okay, so next, I'm very close to A. Very, very close. Okay, now next, D string, because it's see, it's almost at a D, almost. So I'm gonna try and get as close as I can. Since I don't have the fine tuners on these strings, the A string and D string, I have to use the pegs to get what I need, which is a little bit of a challenge for a beginner. If you're a beginner, you might want to invest in fine tuners. They are inexpensive. You can buy them on Amazon as well, and they will help you get really close without risking popping of the strings. As I'm tuning the strings, they're also getting a little bit stretched, which is a very normal process. See, when I went a little bit far. And finally, I'm getting that was G string. Now I'm getting the E string. Since I have the fine tuner for the E string, I don't have to turn the peg much more. Really, I can just get the rest of it by using the fine tuner. So we are really, really close. Now I can get the bow and finish the tuning. Finish the tuning job. So far I'm pleased with this. I'm also interested in what it's gonna sound. I haven't actually tried the violin yet with the bow. So let's check it out. The bow also comes in the package, is neatly packed in this little plastic little packaging. As the bow is in the packaging, it is for protection. So I'm taking it out. We don't need this anymore. So you can discard that. You don't need that at all anymore. You can tighten the bow a little bit, not a lot. Remember, you only need enough for a pencil to fit in between here at the middle, in the middle. Pencil, the middle. See, look. If the pencil fits, we're good. We don't need to tighten anymore. All right, no, so if I try to play anything right now, it's not gonna make any sound. It's gonna be bad, really bad, because this is an absolutely brand new hair. It has no rosin on it, and it's just not gonna make any sound. So I had students come to me and tell me, hey, I think we got the defective bow. It doesn't make any sound, so we need to return the violin back to the store where we bought it from. And I was like, wait, let me explain. So it's not gonna make any sound. That's normal. That's completely okay. We really just need to apply some rosin. So let's do that. Here's the rosin. See, everything is included in the package. And if the brand new rosin is, just you can see, shiny like this, so new, it might be a little tricky to get it going. So let me show you a little hack I use a lot to kind of help speed up the process of usefulness life of the rosin. For this, we're gonna need a basic pocket knife, and we're gonna very carefully, very gently scratch the shiny surface of the rosin, like so, with the sharp side of the knife. You're just really scratching. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm just scratching the surface of the rosin to kind of create a little extra friction. And now we can actually apply the rosin. Let's check it out. This process, of course, takes a little while to get it going, but this is what it looks like. You're just rosin in the brand new bow. Allow yourself a few minutes for this, because this is not a super fast process, and it requires a little bit of a quality control and dedication for it to really achieve the desired effect. Well, all right, I think that's gonna put me very close to where I need to be. Let's get the violin and check it out now. Ooh, see, it's been literally like 3 minutes since I tuned it. It was not in tune, it was close enough, but it's already, I can tell it's already dropped the tone by a lot, but a pretty large margin. So let's try this one more time. Okay. When this happens, also completely normal, that means the peg is not getting enough friction in the peg box yet. So we need to kind of push it just a little bit more, but not too much. You don't want to go too far, because that will risk of getting the peg stuck, and that's no good, especially in a brand new instrument. Not a good idea. So again, notice I'm just using the plucking. I don't use the bow yet. Close enough. Hey, cool. Now I'm gonna need the bow. All right. Ooh, That's good. There goes the tuner. Okay, I got the violin tuned. It is actually in pretty decent shape. So we're ready to try it and see what it sounds like. The shoulder rest, of course, fell off while I was doing all this. Okay, here we are, the moment of truth. I can tell the bow still needs rosin, so I need to go back and rosin the bow more. I got some on the hair, but it's not yet enough for it to make a meaningful difference and make a sound. Notice another thing. So I've got the violin tuned, right? It is maybe not perfectly tuned, but it's very, very, very close to where it needs to be. But I'm gonna set it down for a few minutes, and when I come back, it's gonna be again out of tune. It tunes lower. It basically, the process of stretching the strings continues, and it's gonna continue for some time. Usually it takes about 24 hours for them to kind of settle. So I completely expect when I come back, when I set the violin down and come back, it's gonna be out of tune and I need to tune it again. Again, this is normal. Even if you buy a $1 million violin or more expensive one, it's gonna do the same thing. So don't be alarmed. It's completely okay. I never liked the process of rosining the bow because it is repetitive, uncreative, and just mundane. It's just like one of those things you have to do, and I just never liked rosining the bow. I don't know why. I can't say that it's one of my favorite activities. It's not. So I try to teach my students to do this themselves as soon as I can, really, because I just don't like to rosin their bows. It's bad enough for me to rosin my own bows. Nobody does it for me. But it's really annoying when I have to do it for my students. It's like, come on, guys. This is not so hard. You can do this. Let me show you. So, let's see. This will get us dangerously close where we need to be. I can also notice that the color of the hair of the bow is changing. The more I'm rosining it and the more it's getting rosined, it gets whiter. It gets more and more white, which is good, which is what we want. And also remember another thing I forgot to mention. Do not touch the hair with your hands. Don't touch, because even if your hands are completely clean, you just wash them and they're fine and clean, your hands still have some natural skin oil, and this natural skin oil will interfere with the rosin. It will destroy what I'm doing right now, and you're gonna have to do it all over again. So that's why they say don't touch the bow, don't touch the hair. You're okay to touch the wooden part, the stick of the bow, but basically avoid touching the hair. Yeah. So I think it's good. Let's get the violin. I think it's gonna be out of tune. Let's try it. Actually, not too bad. Anyway. So basically, that's it. There you have it. The violin is ready to go. Be sure to use the little cloth that is also included in the package. I would definitely use this for wiping all the rosin that I just applied on the bow. You always need to do that, because if you don't, it's gonna over time completely destroy your varnish on the instrument, and it's gonna be really difficult to clean. Will be not cheap to clean, and just don't do it. Really, it's better to just have a form a habit of wiping the instrument off each time after you're done playing. Okay, it only takes 30 seconds, if even, you know, but it will prolong the life of the strings, prolong the life of the instrument itself, the varnish, and it looks so much nicer, don't you think? Yeah, I think so. Who is this violin for? I think if you're a beginner, if you're just starting on this hobby and you don't want to invest a lot of money, you just want to kind of try it and see what it's like. This is a very low barrier entry into the violin, just really a couple $100, maybe even less than that. It's like 120, I think. And yeah, you're in. You don't need a fancy instrument to get started. This will be fair enough, good enough to get started, and it will get you going in no time, really. So I think it's a very good value for anybody who's getting started on violin. For middle school students, for high school students, fine, completely good. Now, if you have ambitions of playing in an orchestra or any kind of ensemble, or you plan to play in front of an audience, well, you might want to invest in a nicer instrument, of course, depending on your needs. But for beginners, I think it's hard to beat this one. Yeah, really cool. And the design is neat. Check it out. Don't you think it's cool? I think so. Yeah. Thank you. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy the content, give it a like, subscribe. There's even a thank you button down below. That would be really amazing. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.